Marine Corps.
Friday, be sure to watch as First Take honors America's Heroes with a live show from David Monson Air Force Base in Arizona. Calais Campbell will join us, plus many of other surprises and all the debate you can handle. So tune in this Friday, November 8th, as First Take honors our true heroes.
Hey there, I'm David Lloyd. Up next on SportsCenter, is Patrick Mahomes ready to come back for the Chiefs? We're going to hear from Andy Reid on the MVP's status. Plus, the latest on Zion's recovery process, why the Pelicans are being more tortoise than hare as they try to bring him back. Join me and Nicole Briscoe next, noon Eastern on ESPN. And now back to First Take.
David, thank you kindly. Fresh off his victory over Nate Diaz, Saturday night UFC star Jorge Masvidal has his sights set on fighting boxer Canelo Alvarez, who also won his fight Saturday night. Masvidal says he's, quote, dead serious about wanting to fight Alvarez after his 11th round KO of WBO light heavyweight champion Sergey Kovalev. Alvarez remains in third place in the ESPN pound-for-pound rankings, but his performance turned some heads on the pale. Canelo cut a 22-point gap between him in second place down to 3 points as he received 14 more points compared to last month's vote.
McCaffrey right up the middle. Free may score. Yes, sir. He scores. Touchdown. Carolina.
Oh, my goodness. Worley grabbed it away from him.
Ball touchdown. Seattle wins the ball game.
We're shooting ourselves in the foot too much. It's just not good. I feel like crap.
Minka Fitzpatrick. Kiss him goodbye.
The kick by Vinatieri is on its way.
It's missed.
Cortland Sutton. Touchdown.
Damian Williams all the way home. Touchdown. And the kick is good. He got it. Butker got it. And the Chiefs have won the game.
Touchdown, Ravens. And this house is going wild.
We're midway through the NFL season with all teams having played either 8 or 9 games so far. So we wanted to look at some of the teams and players who aren't delivering on expectations. Dominique Foxworth in the building. Good to see you as always.
Great to be here.
Stephen A., I'll start with you. Which team do you think has been the biggest disappointment?
Well, it's interesting that you started that out by first bringing up the boxing, because the person that was the biggest disappointment to me was Sergey Kovalev, who was soft as putty, had no definition. I had more muscle definition than him. It was ridiculous.
By the way, Stephen A.
Canelo moved up 2 weight classes for him, Max.
Stephen A., that is a very astute observation. Kovalev's gotten a lot of praise for his game plan. I completely disagree. I thought he looked bad. I thought he had the wrong idea in there as well.
Horrible.
I couldn't get past the fact that you said you had more muscle
and
definition than anybody. You got what?
No. What I'm saying is he looked like, I said he had to have
I understand
anything.
what you were saying,
I said
but the point is you said you got muscle definition. Let's see it. Unbutton it. Let me see them abs.
Oh, God. Come on.
No,
What is happening
here? All I'm saying to you is that's how bad Kovalev was, Dominique. That's my point, okay?
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
That's how bad he was.
My bad.
Anyway,
I got distracted.
There we go. It's all right, but don't worry about it. Ain't nobody complaining this way. Here's the deal. The Falcons are my most disappointing team, okay? Let me be very, very clear about that. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Muhammad Sanu before he gets traded to New England, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Freeman coming back after last year's injury. You got all that personnel. I understand there's a couple of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, but Quinn is your head coach. You're supposed to be able to figure that out. Atlanta, to me, to be as horrid as they have been this year, is clearly the most disappointing team in the NFL.
I think it's the Browns. Like, I know people like you were saying, oh, let's wait and see, but the reason I was so high on the Browns, and by the way, of course the jury was out on Freddie Kitchens as a head coach, and you were right about that, Stephen A. He didn't have the executive capacity, apparently. But it's rare. The reason super teams, like in terms of the talent at skills positions, don't work in the NFL is because usually many of the names are just in name only. They're brand names, but they're past their primes. This team was different. This team looked to have an ascending quarterback. Odell Beckham Jr. in his prime with Jarvis Landry, who played together in college, and Jarvis top receiver, and Odell is out of this world. 2 elite or next thing to it running backs, and obviously Kareem Hunt available in the second half, and Joko, who's a real good tight end, and then name brands all over the defense. So this was different than just, oh, look at the flashy names. These were all guys in their primes who I figured even if they imploded would be like a 500-ish team. They're the biggest disappointments to me.
I mean, of those two teams, I think you're probably right. It's the Browns because they were just awful, and people thought they were going to at least be okay, be in contention. But the team I would go with is the Rams. They were in the Super Bowl last year. I know that they have Super Bowl slumps, but their defense has played well. And we all love Sean McVay. We laud Sean McVay. Jared Goff got paid. We love him because he's a great offensive coach and he can make something out of nothing, or so we thought. This year, their offense has been bad, and Jared Goff has not lived up to that contract. I've been disappointed in that. You can't say that there's that same amount of money and anticipation behind a guy like Baker Mayfield or the Browns. None of us necessarily thought the Browns were going to go to the Super Bowl, but people were talking about that, and the Browns fell way short. But I think the Rams, we had high expectations.
Dominique,
they're not even going to make the playoffs.
But it's just a big difference without that play action with Gurley. I mean, like they had an injury.
Yeah, I mean, Gurley's still.
I understand that the play action. Y'all can bring that up, and that's a valid point too with the play action, Max. Here's my thing with you, Dominique. One victory. One for the Atlanta Falcons? I mean, I'd get with you. If they had about 3 victories or whatever. I'd pick the Rams then. But one victory with that offense, that Quinn's gone. Quinn's gone at the end of this season. We all know there's going to be a new head coach in Atlanta next season after this.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that there's going to be a new coach in Atlanta. There's going to be a new coach in Cleveland, but obviously McVay will be back. But didn't we have expectations that they would at least make the playoffs? They're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Rams are going to make the playoffs, which is hugely disappointing for a team. And not the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs because of their offense is surprising to me and hugely disappointing.
Nick,
one thing I'll say about the Falcons, one thing is that it looked like they reinvented offense. Like, oh, my God, this offense is going to be around for a long time a couple years ago. And as soon as Shanahan left, there went the offense.
Nick, looking at you, which player has been the biggest disappointment?
I mean, I think it's obvious that we have a lot of expectations around Baker Mayfield, but Mitchell Trubisky, like there was MVP hype around Mitchell Trubisky. People were I think he had the best odds, and people were taking bets for him to be MVP level player. Now we're talking about if they can go grab Cam Newton before next season, or if they can find some other quarterback to fill in. People are out on that team. And last year, he had a really good QBR towards the end of the season, and that defense was dominant. And we thought they were going to be a legitimate competitor in the NFC, and they aren't.
Why are you lying to the American public like that? Where you living at that somebody was talking about Mitchell Trubisky as an MVP candidate? You know good and damn well that ain't true. Especially, and you living in D.C., they damn sure ain't thinking about him there. What they were thinking about was all of Baker Mayfield commercials and stuff with acquiring Odell Beckham Jr. and having Landry and Njoku and Chubb with Kareem Hunt coming. They were thinking about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is clearly the most disappointing story of the midseason as a player.
You're both wrong. May I ask you what's the best ability, most important ability in football, guys? Availability. Guess what? The biggest disappointment's Antonio Brown. He only got on the field for a single game, and he was healthy all year. Think about that for a second. One of the greatest players who's ever played the position in his prime can't get on the field, and he's not even hurt. With 3 different teams, or 2 different teams this season, he's the biggest disappointment to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on field, but it is pretty disappointing.
All right, everybody.
Well, he had no chance the minute we saw that yellow mustache. As Molly would say.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome into SportsCenter.